And here we are once again, chapter 4, verse 6 of the Book of Ezra. Very, very small book. And in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, wrote they unto him an accusation against the inhabitants of Judah and Jerusalem. Notes. Well, we have this new king, and he's taken the throne, so fresh representations were made to him by the adversaries, lest the work of the temple should continue. How stupid is that? Verse 7. And in the days of Artaxerxes wrote Bishlam, Mithridah, Tabeel, and the rest of their companions unto Artaxerxes, king of Persia, and the writing of the letter was written in the Syrian tongue and interpreted in the Syrian tongue. Notes. Now Artaxerxes now takes over the Persian kingdom, and the adversaries appealed to him as well. Verse 8. Rehum, the chancellor of Shimshai, the scribe, wrote a letter against Jerusalem to Artaxerxes the king in this sort. Then wrote Rehum the chancellor, and Shimshai the scribe, and the rest of their companions, the Denaites, the give me a second, the Apharsathites, I think that's how you say it, the Tarpelites, the Apharsites, the Archavites, the Babylonians, the Susankites, and the Dehavites, and the Elamites. Notes. Well, my take on this is either the Samaritans were not now amalgamated into a single people, or else they thought by listing all of these different names that such would portray power and strength to the king, and he would therefore do what they wanted. Well, let's just see what happens. Verse 10. And the rest of the nations whom the great and noble Snapper brought over, and set in the cities of Samaria, and the rest who are on this side the river, and at such a time, this is the copy of the letter that they sent unto him, even unto Artaxerxes the king. Your servants, the men on this side the river, and at such a time. Notes. Well, concerning verse 10, who in the world this great and noble Snapper was, we aren't really told, but they were speaking of the Jordan River for whatever reason. But anyways, verse 12. Be it known unto the king that the Jews which came up from thee to us, are come unto Jerusalem, building the rebellious and the bad city, and have set up walls thereof, and joined the foundations. Be it known now unto the king that if this city be built, and the walls set up again, then will they not pay toll, tribute, and custom, and so you shall damage the revenue of the kings. Now because we have maintenance from the king's palace, and it was not meet for us to see the king's dishonor, therefore have we went and certified the king. Verse 15, that search may be made in the book of the records of your fathers. So shall you find in the book of the records, and know that this city is a rebellious city, and hurtful unto kings and provinces, and that they have moved sedition within the same of old time, for which cause was this city destroyed. Verse 16, we certify the king that if this city be built again, and the walls thereof set up, by this means you shall have no portion on this side the river. Notes. Well, the enemies of God told half-truths and some outright lies in order to hinder the rebuilding of the temple. And they made up all kinds of excuses right there. Verse 17, then sent the king, who is Artaxerxes, by the way, an answer unto Rehum the chancellor, and to Shimshai the scribe, and to the rest of their companions who dwell in Samaria, and unto the rest beyond the river, east of the Jordan River, by the way, peace and at such a time. The letter which you sent unto us has been plainly read before me. Notes. It seems like he's getting a little bit upset over this, just from the very wording of verse 18. Verse 19, let's see how he reacts. And I commanded, And search has been made, and it is found that this city of old time has made insurrection against kings, and that rebellion and sedition have been made therein. There have been mighty kings also over Jerusalem, which have ruled over all countries beyond the river, and toll, tribute, and custom was paid unto them. Give ye now commandment to cause these men to cease, and that this city be not built, until another commandment shall be given from me. Take heed now that you fail not to do this. Why should damage grow to the hurt of the kings? Now when the copy of King Artaxerxes' letter was read before Rehum and Shimshai the scribe and their companions, they went up in haste to Jerusalem unto the Jews, and made them to cease by force and power. Notes: the adversaries lost no time in brandishing the letter from the Persian king, demanding that the work stop. And by threatening force, the work definitely did come to a halt. Verse 24. Then ceased the work of the house of God which is at Jerusalem. So it ceased unto the 2nd year of the reign of Darius king of Persia. Notes: if the work was resumed early in Darius's 2nd year, the entire period of suspension cannot have much exceeded a year and a half. However, the Jews allowed many other things to hinder, which stretched into approximately 15 years of inactivity as it regards the building of the temple. Chapter 5. We're going to start once again. Let's see how this happens. Then the prophets, Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo, prophesied unto the Jews who were in Judah and Jerusalem in the name of the God of Israel, even unto them. Notes: now, my advice here is the 2 books of Haggai and Zechariah should be read in connection with this particular chapter, because it just all boils down really, really easy. Verse 2. Then rose up Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel and Jeshua the son of Jozadak, and began to build the house of God which is at Jerusalem, and with them were the prophets of God helping them. Notes: now God sending His messengers onto the scene with the word from the Lord that the work must be resumed and speedily. The people had become so busy building their own houses and setting themselves up that little thought was now given to the temple. Without true prophets, the church is definitely going to fall behind. Verse 3. At the same time came to them Tatnai, the governor on this side the river, and Shethar Boznai and their companions, and said thus unto them, Who has commanded you to build this house and to make up this wall? Notes: well, right now the work just barely starts getting done, and Satan will again rear his ugly head, but fortunately to no avail. Verse 4. Then said we unto them after this manner, What are the names of the men who make this building? Notes: well, this particular part right here should actually say at the very beginning, Then said they unto them, just for a little bitty side note right there. Anyways, verse 5, that's something I found out, but verse 5, But the eye of their God was upon the elders of the Jews, that they could not cause them to cease till the matter came to Darius. And then they returned answer by letter concerning this matter. Notes: now at this time, the elders who presided over the workmen, what they did is they employed in the restoration, and they were a special subject of God's watchful care, so that those who would fain have hindered them could not. Let me read that whole bit right there again. Verse 5. But the eye of their God was upon the elders of the Jews, that they could not cause them to cease till the matter came to Darius. And then they returned answer by letter concerning this matter. I'm going to read my notes here again. At this time, the elders who presided over the workmen employed in the restoration were a special subject of God's watchful care, so that those who would fain have hindered them could not. Okay, a little bit of trouble with my speech here. We will pick up in chapter 5, verse 6, and hopefully my voice will be doing a little bit better. Thank you, and God bless.